Hey, I'm Papa Boko here to deliver a tarot energy reading, a sidereal forecast for the new moon in sidereal Virgo for the rest of September, for whatever time you're looking at this message is for you. So, using the Tazama African Tarot deck, and I pulled the Three of Swords and the Empress. And I want to focus on the Three of Swords now, because the Three of Swords is about brings forth betrayal, brings forth these feelings of enlightenment that come at a cost that is usually pain, disappointment, and things of that nature. And so I really believe this to be tied to the Mercury retrograde, the Jupiter retrograde, and the opposition that's been happening between them. And so, an opposition is a little bit of a ping pong between two planets who have the same task, meaning that their goal or what they're trying to do is similar. And in this case, it's mutable. It's about knowing what we know, coming to certainty. And for us as a collective, it's really about how are we battling misinformation when our bodies tell us something different. And so Three of Swords is really coming to us about, well, what is the information that's being revealed to you that you can't escape, right? And what I mean by that is the realities of situations, about what you can't or can't do, the limits of them, the dealings of not being able to overcome the obstacle is something that we have to learn how to resolve, how to learn how to deal with. In relationships, we like to think that once a conversation happens, or once and this is for my Pisces, if you have a planet in Pisces, or you have a Pisces ascendant, like this is I'm talking to you specifically, but this is also for the collective who has Pisces somewhere in their chart, is really, how are we not processing emotions for other people's and then coming and then acting upon those conclusions, right? So Three of Swords is telling us to is asking us to face the truth. So if the person who you've been interested in, or if you've been dealing with a job that has been giving you a runaround, or whatever situations that you find yourself trying to make sense of it, because the words or the actions don't match the emotions or the feelings that you get from it. Sometimes it's just a matter of there's a lack of awareness, there is concealment happening that you can't process yourself out of, that you have to settle on the fact that you're not going to get what it is that you want, that you're not, that the person is lying to you, that the situation is not going in your favor, that that people hurt other people, and that you can't be exempt from pain. And that doesn't take away what you know about the situation, right? Virgo, which is where Mercury is retrograding, opposing Jupiter, which is in Pisces, right? The opposing sign, and both of them are in charge of these signs. They're in their home planets. And so this is really bringing forth that conversation where Virgo says, my actions are my actions and they have no meaning behind them. Pisces says the meanings that the behavior that you act upon is indicative of your intentions. And so we have to really see, right? And we can use COVID as this mechanism to really understand this collectively, is that my body says the environment still isn't safe, but what is being said to me literally is that it is safe to be here, but I don't feel safe. So who do I believe, right? And sometimes it's acknowledging the fact that the person who you're supposed to trust, or the person who you have put your trust in, is lying to you, is saying stuff to you that is not true. And so how do you deal with that, right? How do you resolve that sense of betrayal from a caretaker, healthcare provider, from the government, things that are otherwise seen as a given? How do we come to realization of what our body is saying. And the reason why this is also emphasized is because we have the Empress here. And the Empress, to me, is the ideal connection between your body and your environment, right? Your senses are heightened. You can feel, taste, touch, see, hear, all of the nuances and all of the different ways that our bodies communicate to us. And this also means that we respond to other people's emotions or to our own emotions in a way that lets them be expressed, but also acknowledges them as serious or as worthy of care, right? And of experiencing as well. And so how do these two combine? Well, the Empress, is the medicine for the Three of Swords, in my opinion. And this also is coming in for in this Pisces Virgo sense, right? With Pisces, the connection to your body is more important than the words that the other person is communicating to you. And so somebody can tell you something and you can say, I hear exactly what you're saying, but everything else that you're doing or your actions prove differently. And so I'm going to move on your actions and I'm going to move upon how I am interpreting and perceiving this, whether you want to validate that for me or not. And that's, one way where you're connecting your body. And then the other vein on Virgo's side is really looking at Pisces, or really looking at how your body is communicating to you and how you can learn how to make space for those moments and not automatically think yes, no, food or no food. This is hunger and only hunger. This is this and only this, so that you can give yourself a little bit more space to bring in more information, to get different information, to understand and perceive your world differently and become aware of yourself in a different way. Because although your tool is earth, you're making sense of things by your material encounter with them. Sometimes you don't have to materially encounter something in order to know about it, to know what it can bring to you, to know what how it can affect your body. And that can give you a little bit more curiosity where you need it, right? And Pisces, again, it also prevents you from being overly curious, overly skeptical, when you just stop and say, I'm just going to hear things for what they are, not for what I want them to be, and not avoid the feeling of sadness, not avoid disappointment, not avoid feelings that are unwelcomed for the most part, because when you welcome them, they'll give you the information that you need. You need to resolve the heartbreak in order to realize that that's not something that you need anymore. And so really finding ways to connect to your body, finding ways to identify the emotions, the senses, but also learning how to just be present in your environment, right? What is actually happening, not what you anticipate to be happening. What is actually being said, and how does it come into contact with what you feel, and where do those two things come together or oppose? And really allowing yourself throughout all of this, the curiosity to ask yourself, what's the truth? What's not the truth? For me, what is certain for me and what is uncertain for me? And how do I go about resolving that in a way that keeps me open, that doesn't go into black and whites, but also doesn't keep me paranoid and skeptical about everything that appears in my life? So don't let the heartbreak of the past affect the way that you connect with your body now, is probably the best way I can summarize that. So I'm Papa Boko. I hope that was helpful for folks. And I will see y'all around.